Good evening, everybody. What's going on tonight? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to American Fire. I am Ace, and tonight we have a deep dive show for you. We're going deep into the Steve Bannon craziness. What do we make of this as MAGA people? Bannon has been one of the chief warriors on the front lines, at least from the media standpoint. One-time advisor to Trump. So what do we make of everything coming out in the Epstein Files? We're going to go through it tonight because there's a lot. There's a lot, and we need to expose it all, and we need answers. We need answers. So tonight, you're invited to form your own conclusions because I'm going to go through a lot of stuff. We have a lot. We're going to cover a couple quick stories, and then we're going to get deep into this Steve Bannon Epstein stuff and what it means going forward. Because I got to tell you guys, there's some shocking stuff. It is absolutely shocking, some of what's coming out. And then we got news involving Steve Bannon tonight as well. So get ready, strap up if you are ready. Because after tonight, the one thing you're going to know for sure is that there's questions Steve Bannon needs to answer. We need some answers on this because otherwise it's not looking good. So that's what's going on tonight. I hope you all are well. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe before we get started. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. The likes really help the algorithm. Hit that hype button if you see it. Some of you get that, some others don't. If you're on X, if you don't mind hitting that repost, I'd greatly appreciate it. Share it with your friends. And we're going to get moving here as soon as I say hey to the chat first. What is going on, Chizette? Vince Felice first tonight. What's up, buddy? Frank Anastagio, Alice Fordham, how you doing? Cindy Lou, Scott Volkovich, proud Republican. Love it. Kim Wiley, what's going on? Pat M, CJ Yukon, what's up? AZ Tropic over there on Rumble, US1. What's going on? R Will in the house tonight. D6 Report. Christina Abbott, how are you up in Canada? Represent. Q Alerts over there on Rumble. What's up, buddy? Z-Groom's here tonight. Cass Inc. White Rabbit, what's going on? Thank you for Christina Abbott for the $7 donation. Thank you so much, Christina, for your continuing support. I greatly appreciate it. And Game Over is Squeeze. What is going on in the hizzy tonight? As always, guys, please feel free to hit up the chat. I will do my best to answer your questions, get to your comments. If I'm in the middle of one of my rants, I probably won't see it, but I do stop. I do stop at times to catch it. So if you want to be involved in the show, I will do my best to bring you in. What's up, Jay Cornett and Donna jumping in as well. All right. You guys ready? Okay, first I want to cover a couple quick stories because once we get to Bannon, I want to spend the time on Bannon. So give me a few minutes here as we do some quick hits, and then we're going to get into the Steve Bannon stuff. So let's start with this. This is awesome. I don't know about you guys, but last night, the Super Bowl was pretty sucky. Let's just be real. Seahawks won. I know most of you guys were probably rooting for them. So bully for you. Shogun said all the Asians in North America are rejoicing. So I believe him. I believe him as he's one himself. But halftime show, Bad Bunny, most of us didn't watch it. We went over the TPUSA, and I got to say, it is a huge narrative going on about this halftime show. I covered it in last night's video about Bad Bunny, so you guys can go watch that if you want my thoughts on it. But today, check this out. Oops, I wasn't ready. Here it is. Benny Johnson reports the music industry shook as Kid Rock's new song, which, by the way, this song is awesome. If you didn't see the TPUSA halftime report or halftime show yesterday, you missed out. Kid Rock, his brand new song is unbelievable. It's so good. And it's now number 1 on the charts, beating numero 3, Bad Bunny. So huge win for conservative media last night, for the counterculture, just showing the NFL, listen, I love football. I'm not going to stop watching football. But anywhere from 10 to 20 million people tuned out during the halftime show yesterday and jumped over to TPUSA for it. Guys, that's anywhere from like 10 to 15% of the people watching. That is a wake-up call to advertisers, because next year the show will be even bigger if the NFL fails us again. So this is how you do it. And well done to TPUSA for putting on a great show. You're seeing it right here. TMZ ran a poll. 380,000 people have voted in it. Who had the better show? TMZ, Big Lefty, Rag. 66% said the TPUSA show is better than Bad Bunny. So by 30% winning that. So just a big win. So kudos to everybody who watched it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I really did. And, we just bye-bye Bad Bunny. Like, he's not going anywhere. He'll still be a big deal to them. But this did wake people up. This is because nothing else. We showed that there are alternatives and people are willing to leave. So that's a big deal to the NFL. So wanted to show everybody that, because I just think that's really awesome. Okay, we're going right into Epstein. Thomas Massie has come out and said he will go nuclear and reveal Epstein client names if they're unredacted. And to Thomas Massie, I say, okay, buddy, do it. What are you so afraid of? Do it. Massie and Ro Khanna and several other congressmen today went into a private room and got to view the files unredacted. Lauren Boebert spotted walking away saying this is so disgusting. They get to go back tomorrow. They get 2 hours at a time. Thomas Massie going in, looking at the unredacted files. He came out and this is all he had to say about it. Come on, load. You know you want to. All right. The names of at least 6 men were redacted in the Epstein Files, according to Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna. Massie claims one is pretty high up in a foreign government. Really? Is that all you got to say? I thought you had some receipts, buddy. I thought you had something big. This is not that exciting. See, there is stuff in there that's going to be shocking, but the truth is I don't think it's going to be that shocking for Americans. I think we've seen most of the names of the people on our side. There'll still be some stuff to come out. Don't get me wrong. We're going to find out as this all unfolds, and I do believe it will unfold more and more over time, especially as investigations go up. And listen, I don't like the redactions, but I also have a feeling that the Trump administration is using these to some effect. For one thing, look at this. Ro Khanna, who hates Donald Trump, hates MAGA, came out today and he said, the Epstein fallout could topple the British monarchy. This is after going in and viewing the files unredacted. He says the Epstein scandal is no longer just about disgraced individuals. It threatens the entire British establishment. But hold on. They buried the other headline. This is Ro Khanna admitting they don't have anything else on Trump or anything else on the Trump people. If Ro Khanna, again, super hardcore lefty, basically a commie from California, there he is right there. I can't stand this guy. He's such a fake. But if he comes out after seeing these and all he has to say is that this is bad for the Brits, well, I gotta tell you something. This is the world kind of toppling stuff we saw. But the British monarchy, what have I been telling you guys? British Empire, City of London, the globalist cabal. Yeah. What have we been saying? It's UK centered, City of London. Interesting. Interesting how it all keeps coming back to there. He says this is the most vulnerable British monarchy's ever been. Maybe this will be the end of the monarchy. Khanna points directly to Prince Andrew and Mandelson, calling Epstein Files a window into elite impunity. Says stripping titles isn't enough. Silence isn't enough. Says king must answer when he knew and when. Ruh-roh. You know, it's almost like Trump and them knew what they were doing. I don't know, guys. This is really getting interesting. Why, by the way, why is nobody talking about this? I feel like I'm the only one. Now, I know I'm not the only one, but this is not making the rounds in any of the big influencer circles. You would think this is pretty important, calling this out, seeing this, but again, I guess if it's just not handed to some people on a silver platter, like here's everything, they don't do the work. But very interesting how this is unfolding. By the way, a story came out in Forbes today. more vindication for Trump, because Trump called the police about Epstein in 2006, calling Ghislaine Maxwell evil. He was trying to bust him early. Get him, guys. This story goes on to say about Trump saying they knew about the girls. Epstein, you got to get him. You got to make him stop. Yeah, this story actually makes Trump look really good. And you know what the Democrats are already doing? They're already trying to change the narrative and say, oh, this makes Trump, he knew, guys. He knew, he lied. He said he didn't know anything. Oh my God. Yeah, they're trying to spin it when actually what it's doing is vindicating Trump. How can you make it a bad thing that Trump was actually trying to turn Epstein in 2006, calling him evil? I don't know, but that's what they're trying to do. Give it to them to try to spin everything anti-Trump, even when it's so clearly a good thing. And finally, right here, look at this. Jamie Raskin. I'm not going to play his voice because it's pathetic and horrible, and you guys all know that. But look at what he says here. Jamie Raskin, he went in and saw the unredacted files as well. Says Epstein survivors are accusing the Trump administration of threatening victims by releasing unredacted names. Really? Threatening the victims. Does this sound like a panic attack or what? A lot of the survivors believe a deliberate threat to other survivors thinking about coming forward. They need to be careful because they can be exposed, have their personal information drive through the mud as well. Yeah, right after viewing the unredacted files. You know what this tells me? Well, Brian Cates gets it right out, knocks it out of the park. Watch the panic escalate. They're getting exactly what they demanded. Unredacted files they can view in the congressional SCIF, and Raskin now saying this, which is pure panic. You know, the truth is, many of the people who are quote unquote victims, first of all, there is a lot of, now I got to preface this because I don't want to get in trouble here. There are a lot of real victims. Okay. A lot. Many of them have come out. They've bravely gone to court. They've been paid out from the Epstein estate, 100-some million, and then from JP Morgan Chase. I think all total $450 million has been paid to the actual victims. So there are a lot of victims. And I'm sure because of that payout, some of them are under NDAs and stuff. But here's the other thing. With all of America watching, this is the safest time ever to come out and say stuff if you need to. You have on the Hill, you have the official Thomas Massie, the hero, leading the charge, bringing all this up. So you have Congress. They're not going to do anything to hurt you. You have Elon Musk, like Cassink writes in the chat, Elon Musk offering to cover any of their legal expenses. You have all of America basically knowing if anything happened and one of these victims is stood out, we're going to be very, very iffy on that. So you have all that going on. It's the safest time ever for the victims to actually come out. Why aren't they? Why aren't more victims coming out? Because a lot of them are fakes. A lot of the real ones have already been paid out. They're just happy the files are coming out. And then also, there's a lot of victims who actually were girls helping recruit the other girls. They were working for Epstein. And now they're in the files as quote unquote their names. They're claiming to be victims just because they were young girls but they weren't underage. Some of these girls knew what they were doing. Ghislaine was a known groomer. She groomed these girls to go get other girls. Some of them were working for Epstein, and now but they can't go on record, because if they do, and then they start getting dug into, you find out the truth. So it's much easier for them to stand up. This is a lot of crazy stuff going on, guys. A lot of crazy stuff going on. Lots of layers. But that's what Raskin's talking about, because the Trump administration knows some of these survivors, these victims, are not actually victims. They're working with them. But that's the game he's playing. And we already saw a week ago, ABC News reported that some lawyers are trying to get the DOJ to scrub this from the website. So it's just like we said back in December when Trump said, let it all out. Well, that was the big rug pull. And they ended up getting something they never actually wanted in the first place. So that's the latest updates, guys, on the Epstein files. Very interesting. We're going to see more and more. But again, all the Congress people now are going into the SCIF, viewing the unredacted version of these files. And what's coming out? Thomas Massey saying he saw 6 names. One was in a foreign government. Ro Khanna saying this could topple the British monarchy. And Jamie Raskin saying victims. Maybe we shouldn't be doing all this because the Trump administration's going after victims. Really? How does that make any sense at all? So you guys do with that what you will. But to me, it absolutely looks like this is really lining up to be much worse for the Democrats and for foreign powers than anybody else. That's not counting the names we already know that are all over the files. Reid Hoffman, Bill Gates, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Anyways, very interesting stuff. Lochtefeld says Raskin is useless. He is. He's terrible. He is just one of the worst. He is one of the biggest snakes, man. He is so awful. Donna says doesn't believe Guthrie killed herself. I think you might be right on that. Massey the Zero, that's right. Christina says this is a release detrimental for the Dems. The election coming up, they want to suffocate this as fast as they can, but it ain't going to happen. She's absolutely right. This is going to linger. And you guys think, all the doomers, which we're going to talk a lot about the doomers here soon. Okay, because we're going to get into the Bannon stuff. But a lot of the doomers out there are pointing to polls, declaring that the midterms are already over. There's no coming back from this, or to come back from this is very difficult. But there's so much they're not taking into account. There's a whole nother batch of files that's supposed to be coming. They could still release a lot of unredacted files. That's on one side. We have all these investigations going on, but we also have the economy getting ready to boom. I mean, there's a lot coming, guys, in this next year. So between now and the midterms, there are literally hundreds of things that could happen that could turn things around for Trump and Republicans real fast. This, my friends, is just the lull. It's the lull. And just remember, when anybody's like, well, in history, nobody's ever won the midterms when they're doing this bad. This is not the time when history's repeating itself. We're in a new time, folks. We're in a new era. So don't believe any of that nonsense. Okay. You guys ready to move on to Bannon? I'm not going to enjoy this because I like Bannon, or I have liked Bannon. But I haven't trusted Bannon 100% for a while now. And it gets worse and worse the more these files come out. Now, Elon dropped this today. He dropped Bannon is evil in response to this post, which we'll cover this post in a little bit. But this is Elon Musk. 5.4 million views on this. Now, it's long been known Musk and Bannon have a little bit of a rivalry. Bannon flat out called Musk basically like a parasite, bad news for the Trump administration. Was delighted last year when Trump and Musk got into it. He left and Bannon was celebrating that this is, I knew of this all along. And yet now Elon's way back in good with Trump again. And now he's calling Bannon evil. So I don't know what Musk knows. I don't know if I can 100% trust him on this, but I'm telling you, there is an onslaught coming on to Bannon right now because of the Epstein files. The question is whether it's legit concerns or whether there's another explanation. That's the question. And I'm telling you, after this, we have to know. Bannon has to address this at some point, because in Bannon's circle, you got to think of all the people influencing conservative thought right now. Raheem Kassam, Jack Posobiec, Rich Barris, Mark Mitchell, the two best pollsters out there who are also going doom crazy. Then you got Robert Barnes. I mean, it goes on and on and on. They are kind of like MAGA Inc. influencers. And I'm telling you, if the head is dirty, there's going to be a lot of fallout from this. A lot of fallout from this. And this will be one of the big ones. And so Bannon has got to figure this out, because if he doesn't, we can't trust him. That's what I'm going to say. And so let's get into this. Came out, Bannon laundering money using World of Warcraft. Again, I'll get into the post in a second. I just want to show you guys how Elon is going full bore after Bannon right now. And then we have like people like Brian Cates, who's been one of the best reporters on Trump and MAGA. And even before Bannon went all in. Now, Bannon did work for the Trump campaign in 2016 and when he got elected. But then he got kicked out. And we're going to investigate that in a minute. But Cates has always been there. And Bannon also, before he was with Trump in the primaries, he was with Cruz. So these are the kind of things like you got to look at. You got to understand, like, it's very important. We did this with Candace Owens too. It's very important to see where a person comes from. It does not mean somebody can't change their mind and somebody can't wake up. Listen, I'm a Christian. I believe in redemption. I believe in new beginnings. Okay, that's what my faith is all about. However, sometimes it's important to look where somebody's been and trace it and see if there's a real awakening here, if there's a trail that's concerning. Cates writes here, after this is in today, after everything's been coming out, creating Bannon's war room like he was still any kind of key Trump insider and strategist, privy to all exclusive insider info from Trump's inner circle, was the best rhetorical trick Bannon pulled off on the Trump base over the past 6 years. Trump's known all along who and what Bannon is and what he was doing. Trump plays information warfare games right back on a-holes trying to play them on him. He's a grandmaster of it. Bannon's been slowly finding that out recently, much to his horror. You know who Trump's two real best key insiders are for the past 6 years? Elon Musk and Jared Kushner, which, by the way, Bannon's not a big fan of Kushner either. Isn't that interesting? And Kushner right now is traveling the world for diplomacy for Trump's team. He's obviously still one of Trump's most trusted people. He writes, many of you are not going to believe that you're going to instantly dismiss it. Why? Because you've been believing anonymously sourced slop stories from Bannon's war room. It's going to take some of you time to rewire your brains now that this is being exposed. So Cates, you can kind of tell what side of it he's on. Let's keep going. This is one of my biggest issues I've had with Bannon lately, is because a lot of these people freaking out over stuff have come from the Bannon circle. Over half the just trust me bro anonymously sourced slop that was fed to the Trump base for the last year, spreading confusion, sowing discord, generating massive distrust of Trump and his dream team cabinet came from Bannon and those like him. This is where Trump base starts to free itself from the FAGA matrix and starts realizing it can't accept any more just trust me bro anonymously sourced slop from anybody. Exactly. And number one, recently, this is just in the last week, was this whole story over, oh my God, his name just slipped my mind. I can't believe his name just slipped my mind. The attorney that was so awesome that we got in the Trump administration, who the big story was that he was relieved of his duties. And everybody's freaking out about it. Somebody drop it in the chat. You guys know what I'm talking about. But, and it was all like, Todd Blanche has relieved him of his duties. He's going to be leaving the DOJ, and MAGA was very upset about it. But when it happened, I said, listen, guys, I need to see the actual sources first. And then we started getting some sources that, this isn't true. And then he came out himself and said, no, I'm working with Todd Blanche. Things are going great. I cannot, the name is slipping my mind right now. I'm sorry, guys. You guys know me. I don't do this. So somebody will drop it in the chat and I'll bring it up. Ed Martin. Thank you very much, Cassink. Yeah, Ed Martin. So, but it was Bannon and his team were jumping on that story and spreading it. Oh, this is the truth. Look at it's Bondi's DOJ again, man. It's just destroying Trump. It's all falling apart. Yeah, it's just not going to work out. Look what they're doing. A lot of that was coming from the Bannon circle. Now, I believe to Bannon's credit, he said, like, we need to see what's going on, but this is concerning if true, something like that. But my point is, why jump all over that? Don't we know better by now? How many things about the Trump administration are fed into the media ecosystem and turn out to be lies? It happens almost every time. Do not believe the crap. This Trump administration doesn't leak. They only allow out the information they want out. Everything else is lies or hearsay from bad actors in the government trying to ruin the Trump administration. So do not do the trust me bro crap. You guys notice I don't ever do that here? I don't follow the stories that are just kind of out there. Or if I do bring up something, I say, I'm watching this carefully. I don't know if this is true. I'm very careful with that stuff because we're in nonstop information warfare right now. It is psyop after psyop after psyop. And yes, even those of us who do a really good job parsing through the news, sharing the news, know how to do research, even we can get duped every once in a while because there's so much of it. Nobody's perfect. No one. But there are major tells, and some people have a much better track record than others. And it's important to follow those that do. And the one thing we cannot do is jump into the doomer cycle. There's just no room for it. We're winning. It's going to be hard some days. We're going to have setbacks every once in a while, but Donald Trump and his team know what they're doing. We just see that over and over and over again. And it doesn't mean they're above mistakes, but the fact is the mistakes this administration, this term, are small. See, in the first administration, Trump made some major mistakes, but it wasn't all his fault. See, he was populated by the Republicans who he trusted way too much. They snuck in Mike Pence, who is a dirty dog. They snuck in William Barr, who is actually his father started Epstein. And so he was covering for all kinds of stuff as attorney general. It was bad seed after bad seed after bad seed planted in the administration by the Republicans telling Trump he could trust him. John Bolton, anybody? Oh, I got one on John Bolton here in a minute here. But the fact is, the first term was a mess. And despite that, Trump accomplished a lot. But there were a lot of mistakes, and it's because the people around him, Trump didn't have the right team. And he was figuring it out as he went. Then he got 4 years off, guys. He got 4 years off. He got to see everybody who betrayed him. He got to see everybody who turned on him, who abandoned him in the wilderness. He figured it out. And this time, he didn't let any of those people that close to him. Now, there's been a couple, like Mike Waltz, who security advisor, but as soon as he screwed up last year in that whole Signalgate thing, letting the Atlantic guy in to the chat, Trump demoted him, moved him out, moved Rubio up to a dual role. See, that's why, Scott Bessent right now is both Treasury Secretary and IRS Commissioner, dual role. Why? Because the guy he got as IRS Commissioner blew out in a month because of scandal. What did Trump do? He said, well, I don't know who to trust. Scott, you're doing two roles. Rubio, Mike Waltz screws up. He says, hey, I don't know who else I can trust right now for security advisor. Rubio, you're doing that and Secretary of State. That's what Trump's doing. He's keeping the circle tight. And if you screw up this time, you're not out. That's why I still continue to trust Pam Bondi. Listen, I know on the surface how it looks. And maybe I'm going to be proven to be a total tool for trusting in this. But I got to say, Trump seems to give Bondi a very long leash. And he keeps backing her up when he's already weeded out others. So we'll see, but I think there's more going on than we know at the DOJ. What's going on, William Collins? All right, let's keep going. Bannon. Today, there's a massive, this is from Grace Chung, his producer, who's in that circle. There's a massive lack of enthusiasm among the base. People are saying, I'm not feeling it right now. And our best pollsters, Barris and Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen, are consistent. So they're dooming right now. As this person catches it, so much of this online blackpilling comes from people around Bannon. Interesting. Yeah, wonder why. Oh, now we have this. Nick Fuentes all of a sudden coming out as a big Bannon stan. How? How do you how do you explain that? If Bannon's truly MAGA, why is Nick Fuentes, the grifter of grifters, likely a Fed based on everything we've looked into? How is this guy leading the Groyper movement, which is basically sabotaging MAGA by turning young men against MAGA? How is this guy churning for Bannon? You know what that does? He is trying, this is Nick right now, trying to take everybody away who would vote for J.D. Vance in 2028, which J.D. Vance has massive appeal to young men. I can tell you, my son is about to turn 18. He loves J.D. Vance. So do all of his friends. Some of them don't like Trump. They love J.D. Vance. This is the war to get those guys away from J.D. and sabotage them. Nick Fuentes explains why it's important to hide your power levels, reveals his fondness for Steve Bannon. I'm a big Bannon supporter, actually. Bannon's a big critic of the little tech group. Now, if Bannon, isn't Bannon supposed to be like Trump's #1 fan? The guy guiding MAGA into the light, helping us navigate these hard times? The guy trying to like gin everybody up to support Trump and keep the MAGA, the war room, get us all moving forward, working together. Well, if that's true, like Nick Fuentes, he's supposed to be a smart guy. He can't see that. He can't see that Bannon's a Trump guy and he loves Bannon. I don't know. This kind of stuff's very strange to me. And he says he's putting out a very different message than he was years ago. Is that true? Is Bannon, what's Fuentes actually trying to tell us here? Interestingly enough, Grace Chung, Bannon's producer, responds with this, basically saying, oh yeah, we got Nick Fuentes. That's not something to be proud of. Shouldn't Bannon know this? You would think, but I don't know, apparently not. And Fuentes here, it goes further, is now saying he wants Bannon over J.D. Vance in the 2028 primary. Listen to this.
Can you elaborate on your potential 2028 support for Bannon? Seems like he's heavily implicated with Epstein. Did you watch their interview?
I did, because I think that someone needs to challenge Vance. Nobody is challenging Vance. They are lining up. Okay, and hey, fucking idiot. Vance is in bed with all of Epstein's people. Like, where do you think Vance came from? Vance came from Teal.
Did you just hear what he said? Vance is with all Epstein's people? Oh, wait till we look at what Bannon was doing with Epstein.
Vance came from Ohio. Epstein's all over that, okay? So you endorse Bannon. I think that Bannon is somebody, I don't really know what he is, honestly. But he is somebody that throughout his life has just hooked up with all these powerful patrons. Guo Wengui, Rebecca Mercer, Jeffrey Epstein, many people over the years. I don't really know what his deal is. I've never met him, talked to him. I don't know his story. That being said, he is one of the only major Republicans to challenge Little Tech and Vance. Nobody else is doing it. Everybody is lining up, bending the knee, kowtowing to Vance and paying fealty that he's going to be the guy and there's going to be no competition and everybody just get behind him. And Bannon is one of the only mainstream people that are saying, I'm just going to run just to challenge Vance. We need to see that on the stage. There needs to be a primary. So I don't care who it is, as long as it's somebody that's on the right of Vance and is going to challenge him. So that's why I am looking forward to Bannon's challenge.
It's the Jew sent $20.
So he just regurgitated the whole J.D. Vance is ushering in the technocracy nonsense, the Whitney Webb crap that's been circulating for all this time. You know who's not in the Epstein Files? J.D. Vance. I haven't seen him come up once. I'm not saying he's not ever. Maybe he's got some connection at some point, but Vance was just coming up by the time Epstein died. So I just don't think we're going to see Vance in the files anytime soon. And there is the Peter Thiel connection, absolutely. But the Peter Thiel connection to Vance is overblown. It's not nearly what these guys say it is. So isn't it interesting that Fuentes tries to link Vance to Epstein, whereas Bannon, as you're about to see, is very tied to Epstein. He tries to link him to that and then uses the technocrat nonsense. And he says Bannon's a big opponent of that. Now, Bannon, being MAGA guy, why would he want to split the base by running in 2028? How does that help? How does that help at all? Because you're going to get people like Fuentes and his minions. It's gonna validate him more. It's going to look like this, Bannon could lead a movement large enough to derail MAGA. He could pull 5 to 10% of MAGA away, and it could hurt Vance bad. Why would Bannon want to do that? Why would he want the grifters like Fuentes supporting him? This just doesn't line up. And there are several insiders close to Bannon saying he's planning on running. We'll see what happens. Again, this is not me making conclusions about Bannon, but I got to say, guys, it's a lot of questions that need answering. It doesn't look good. It keeps looking worse. Brendan Dilley, big MAGA guy, does some of the great videos I share. He hates Bannon. Very interesting. A lot of these people who are in conservative ink, but not the big players, the smaller players. I mean, Dilley is, 260,000 followers. Not that big. By the way, look, he's followed by Harmeet Dillon and Kash Patel. Interesting. He says Steve Bannon only exists because he bankrolled a bunch of conservative influencers. They make it a point to never go after him, appear on a show because Sloppy Steve owns them. Worst kept secret in the industry. I don't know. I can't say that's true or not, but it's interesting. Well, let's start getting into what's been coming out about Bannon that we can say for certain now. Roger Stone today wrote a story. Bannon's double game, pushing Epstein transparency while mocking Trump in public. This is from Populist Sentinel. Roger Stone writes, Elon Musk certainly turned out to be right about Steve Bannon. Interesting. In this story, you would see all the stuff I'm about to share with you guys. Let's keep it moving. Going back, so this is in response to Elon. I'm setting the stage here before we get into the Epstein Files because they're coming. Responding to ban laundering money for evil people. Here's the background of Bannon this guy put together. Bannon went to an all-male Catholic high school, goes to college, joins the Navy. As a lieutenant, gets assigned a highly selective CNO office as an aide. While there, he gets his master's at Georgetown, major CIA school. Gets off active duty and attends Harvard. Interesting. Harvard. Immediately hired by Goldman Sachs. Isn't it interesting how Bannon just has all these connections? Now, again, sometimes having connections where the bad guys had connections is a good thing. And maybe it is with Bannon. Maybe it is, but he definitely has been palling around with the elites for a long time. He works in buying and merging media companies. So Bannon, media guy since the beginning. You know who loves getting involved with the media is CIA. He goes to LA, opens his own investment firm, which makes propaganda films like Generalian Zero, which blames the baby boomers for the '08 financial crisis. Even Epstein admitted to Bannon in an interview that was actually Clinton's fault. But we can use a crisis to teach grandkids to hate their grandparents. Bannon's past business involvement in 05-07 helped secure funding and ran internet gaming entertainment. Hong Kong-based company and employed low-wage workers to farm World of Warcraft gold. This gold was then sold from real money to players, creating a large-scale real money trading operation. Blizzard cracked down on these activities as violations of terms of service. Doesn't that kind of sound like a Ponzi scheme? Definitely a racket. Interesting. The guy who harps on CCP at a foreign labor farm exploiting workers in China. That's very strange. And then he came in after Breitbart got killed. Now the story from former Breitbart employees is not that Bannon got called in as CEO. It's that Bannon came in and declared himself CEO. and then proceeded to change things. That's the story from multiple sources that I've seen. Now, again, I'm willing to be challenged on this stuff. I am not accusing Steve Bannon of anything. I am saying that there is a lot of shady stuff coming to the surface, and we need answers. And we have not even scratched the surface yet, folks. There is a lot more coming. Just strap in. I got a lot more tonight to cover. A lot more. And I got to say, very little of it is good. So Steve Bannon, answers, please. We'd love to know what you have to say about this. And here's what some people are saying to defend him. Just so I'm showing both sides here. Here's a different approach. He thinks Bannon may have been caught in deep state activities, but think Trump flipped him early in his first administration. That's interesting because apparently Bannon, remember, he took credit for getting Trump elected, to which Trump said he didn't have that much to do with it. This is all in the first term. And then Trump kicked him out. But again, is it possible Trump sent him along to do some media? I don't know. He says, I think he was used to gain access and information on Epstein. Perhaps this is true. It is possible. He did start really getting involved with Epstein after leaving the Trump administration. But perhaps we'll see this in further D-class, which we do have more files coming. Could be wrong. I think Bannon served as a federal informant similar to President Trump. So there's the other side of it, which is possible. Again, that's the positive spin. Is it possible? Is Bannon a patriot? Maybe. He might be exactly as he comes across. But again, this is, well, just watch. Let's get into the Epstein Files. Epstein wasn't just socializing with Steve Bannon. By the way, Mario Nawfal, he's not always my favorite. He comes up with some conclusions I don't always like. But as far as actually breaking the news and digging into stuff, he's excellent. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just socializing with Steve Bannon. The DOJ and House oversight records show sustained coordination from 2017 to 2019. This would have been right after he left the Trump administration. Epstein advised Bannon on funding, need to understand flow of funds, strategy, and messaging. Brilliant. Help me deliver that argument. Pushed EU figures, claimed governments would fall as planned, arranged foreign introductions, warned Bannon, take no heat regarding me. Collaboration only ended when Epstein was arrested in July 2019. And here we see some of the crazy stuff. Them sitting in an office together. We have messages. If we can arrange it, can we film on the island? That's Steve Bannon asking. Can we go to the island? Yes, says Jeffrey. Perfect. Can we do late morning? Canceled. You're not coming on. We knew that they later filmed the interview, which I'd put up on my channel. Weird emails here. Ninth Circle Hicks. If you're going to play here, you have to spend time. Europe by remote doesn't work. Lots and lots of FaceTime and hand holding. Europe can be a wife, not a mistress. It's obviously talking power plays. Here's where it gets weird. Ehud. That's Ehud Barak, former prime minister of Israel. Can we announce I'm his strategic advisor? That is Bannon. Strategic advisor to Ehud Barak? That's strange. This will be a long campaign, says Jeffrey Epstein. Elections in September, lots to talk about. That was the election, I believe, of Netanyahu. This is a brilliant move, says Steve. Thanks, only the first step. To which Epstein replies, now you can understand why Trump wakes up in the middle of the night sweating when he hears you and I are friends. Dangerous, replies Bannon. These are crazy things, guys. This is crazy, crazy stuff. 10 days before Epstein was allegedly found dead, he created a list for Steve Bannon and emailed it to himself. This is Epstein writing this to himself from his prison cell 10 days before dying. Why would he write something like this down? Maybe for testifying, maybe to get something out to Steve Bannon. I don't know. But on the list, Epstein to Epstein, list for Bannon. Look at these names. Some of these names we already know. Completely guilty. Mandelson, gone. Already dropped from the House of Lords. Barnaby Summers Watson, I don't know who that is. Several of these I don't know who they are. Lots of foreign names, though, as you can see. Peter Thiel, Reid Hoffman, as we've already seen both their names. Now, are these all guys who are on the take? Are these all guys who blackmail? They slept with the girls? We don't know. It just says the list. What list did Steve know? Is this people to go get money from? Who knows? John Kerry with one R. Is that a misspelling or is that actually John Kerry? This looks probably like Jeffrey Sachs would be my guest. I guess. Frequent guest on the Tucker Carlson show. George Mitchell. Noam Chomsky. Barack. That's interesting. Prince Andrews. Clinton. Richardson. That's got to be Bill Richardson, New Mexico governor. Chuck Schumer. Unless there's another Schumer. Probably not. Rothschild. By the way, Jeffrey Epstein's a terrible speller. I don't know if it's because he's always in a hurry or like he writes Mandelson again here. That looks like Blair, misspelled. Tony Blair, which we've heard some terrible stuff about Tony Blair. So Dershowitz, Ken Starr, Rumler. That's Obama's attorney, excuse me. Interesting. Very interesting. What is that list? I don't know, but he was writing it for Bannon. Crazy stuff. Dinesh D'Souza shares this headline. By the way, Dinesh, obviously, I think Dinesh overall is great. I haven't seen reasons not to like him. The only thing is that he is kind of in that conservative ink. So, but I've read his books. I've seen his documentaries. I think overall he does great work. He's clearly calling out Steve Bannon here. Bannon planning to produce a pro-Epstein documentary on the day of the financier's arrest. Emails reveal Bannon making arrangements for a redemptive documentary to counter damaging narratives advanced by Netflix's Jeffrey Epstein Filthy Rich. Filmed on location. So Bannon was at the island. Now, again, he's filming. That's the thing here. Every one of these things seems to have an out. The problem is we don't have the connection to the out yet. So for now, it just looks shady. I don't know what to say. I don't know, which way to go on this. All I got to tell you is that until we know more, we can't trust Bannon. The Abandoned Project was going to feature testimonials by Epstein pals like Michael Wolff. Why was Bannon palling around with Wolff? One of the main reasons Trump let Bannon go, the official story at least, is that Bannon was the main leaker. And he was working on Wolff in his books to expose Trump, giving him all kinds of sauce. And then Trump found out, and that's why Bannon was axed, and he's never worked with Trump since. Despite Trump having dinner with him, despite Trump making some nice call-outs to him here and there. But Trump has said nice stuff about all kinds of people he doesn't like. Remember when he said Ghislaine Maxwell, when she first got caught, he said, I wish her well. Wish her well? Really, Trump? But then we just found out in the files, as I showed you guys earlier, that Trump called Ghislaine Maxwell evil. So Trump complimenting you doesn't mean he likes you. He's playing games. Trump's always playing games. What's up, Moody? What's up, the one? Steve Bernard? Vince Felice says that's retarded to Nick Fuentes. Vance will be the next president. Amen. He will. He will. All right. Epstein Files. MJ Truth Ultra shares. It's no secret Bannon was working on documentary with Epstein and see how hard he was working to crush the pedo trafficking narrative, then rebuild your image is disturbing and disappointing. Here is text exchange. This is Epstein. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the show, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you for supporting the channel. And if you want to support it further and the work I do, feel free to join. You can join for free by clicking the link in the description. You'll get a free month to see if you like it. And after that, it's only $5 a month if you want to support the channel. So thank you guys for that. Repost, please, if you're on X. Share with a friend if you don't mind. Let me set up a poll here on YouTube to see what you guys think. But can Bannon be trusted? And I want to see what the crowd thinks as you guys answer that while I talk. But thank you again for watching. Please hit that like and that subscribe. Okay, let's get into it. Here's Epstein. They told the police, they were told by a friend of theirs that brought them, if they asked, make sure you say you are 18. Why would you have to say you're 18? Exactly the opposite of Sting results were guys looking for underage girls. They always want under and are explicit. This sounds like Epstein giving up some of the deets on guys at there. So, but I get it. Each girl knew why she was coming to the house massage with extra handy coercion. Hardly coercion, sorry. Each girl knew why she was coming to the house. Doesn't that sound like they were paid? That's interesting. Reminder, I am delusional, no ego, not my skill set. Yeah, right. Kathy documents Paramount. And then here's Steve Bannon's response. Kirshner blows this case out of the water. Why have you never had him come forward now that he's retired? Wants a face-to-face. Isn't that crazy? I mean, this is clearly him trying to get him out of it. Here's the text between Bannon and Epstein. It says presumably. But this all the setup. I mean, you can just tell they're going back and forth quite a bit setting up this documentary. Again, what's Bannon's play here? Was Bannon trying to just get information? Maybe that's completely possible. Was he just close to Epstein because he was getting money from him? I don't know, but oh, we got a JD Vance hater in the. Listen, man, these guys are so wrong about JD. It's crazy, but anyways, we're not going to get into the whole JD Vance thing. Here's Epstein working with Bannon on a global populist movement before his arrest. The anti-elite crusader taking advice from the most elite pedophile on earth, draining the swamp or whatever. Here's Epstein name-dropping his way through U.S. foreign policy like it's a group chat, telling Steve Bannon he's pulling John Bolton into a Qatar strategy, while Bolton replies that Bolton may be NSA, but he still answers to Sheldon Anderson. Yeah, so I told you guys Bolton would be coming up. Well, look at this. Bolton only doing what Sheldon Adelson tells him to do. I got John the job, but he will not crush Sheldon. Do you hear that? Bolton, one of the biggest snakes of the Trump administration term one. Trump found out, hated him, got rid of him, and now has him sweating indictment. Bolton. Trump hates him. He's an old neocon. Trump smelled him out, got rid of him. But he was only in the Trump administration because of Bannon in the first place. This, to me, guys, I got to say, this is one of the most damning texts I've seen about Bannon. Because why? Why would Bannon even say this unless he meant it? I got John the job. And then saying he'll only do what Sheldon tells him to do. He won't cross Sheldon. That makes it sound like Bannon is the Mossad agent. Bannon's the one bringing all the Israeli influence into the Trump administration. That's what this sounds like. That's crazy, at least in term one. Wild. To which Epstein replies, I'm aware. That is wild. I hope you guys can get how crazy that is. Right? You can explain to your boys, linchpin, Middle East is Qatar, blockade lifted. They can help on so many fronts. Head to AD tomorrow. And to which Epstein replies, I think I'm getting Bolton on board. At least he's an adult. Sheldon Anderson, he's an Israeli guy, I believe. I might be mixing him up. But I believe is he with Miriam Adelson? Aren't they related? Or husband and wife? I think that's true. If I'm wrong about that, somebody will call me on the chat and I'll say I'm wrong. Anyways. Yeah, so thinks I'm getting Bolton on board. At least he's an adult. John Bolton. How crazy is this? So they were coordinating with John Bolton. You're wrong on Havoc. You might be right on that. But you're wrong on Vance. I'm going to tell you right now, you're wrong on Vance. You might be right about everything else. But there's a lot of people wrong on Vance who are right on a lot of other things. But the Vance stuff is the only reason anybody believes any of that about Vance is because what Whitney Webb wrote. And Whitney Webb has already been called out by Ryan Dawson for stealing a lot of his stuff. She's not to be trusted. Whitney Webb, and the way you can always know is everybody who's always dooming, anybody who never has hope is always a fraud. It's just the facts, And Whitney Webb I had pegged for a long time ago, and her whole technocrat thing is way, way overblown. Steve Bannon tells Jeffrey Epstein he controls Larry Kudlow and John Bolton, which, by the way, Trump just had an interview with Larry Kudlow tonight. That's interesting. Bloated booze, addled, toothless hobo thinks he's a puppet master. So this is from Roger Stone, but not from Roger Stone. It's actually from the Epstein Files. Steve Bannon, I liked your F Wall Street statement. This is Epstein. I don't know you were doing, but it seems he's following your lead. 1,000% replies Steve Bannon. I have Kudlow and Bolton in there. Crazy. Nice to finally have good soldiers for you. Old soldiers looking for a gig. Yes, but it's funny. It's obviously now have a boss. Good for you. Steve Bannon basically bragging that he's in control of some of the bad eggs in the first Trump administration. This is wild stuff. You can't make this up. This makes Bannon look so awful. It's crazy how bad this all makes him look. It's just the truth. Again, Bannon, we need answers, because if this is all true, we can't trust anybody in your circle. And that means Posobiec, Rich Barris. I mean, you go down the list. I already know Robert Barnes is a total hack. So, it's like these people, I mean, Bannon would be the big one. So what have we seen already in the last year? We've already seen Candace Owens outed as a fraud. We've seen so many other a little smaller influencers. Candace was the big one. She's total fraud. Charlie Kirk gets killed. He's the only one that's actually close to the administration trusts. They kill Charlie. Conservative Inc. is falling quick. I mean, at this point, the only ones big that are truly still standing, and I don't know if we're going to see them fall because they're independent enough out of the big guys. It's like Crowder, Megyn Kelly, Glenn Beck, Tim Pool. I think, and Tim Pool wouldn't even call himself conservative. Maybe Michael Knowles. But Shapiro has been proven to be a hack, Ben Shapiro. But Bannon's going to be a big one. That one's going to hurt because all those other ones have kind of been independent, kind of conservative-ish, but in MAGA adjacent. But Bannon's supposed to be MAGA. He's supposed to be Mr. America First. You go to Steve Bannon to hear all these guys talk about the MAGA agenda. We are America First. We're not the Groypers. We're not the fake America First Nick Fuentes types. Those guys are total jokes. Okay. Nick Fuentes, Fed, grifter, disgusting. Ian Carroll, grifter. Like all these people have said we're America First. And they won't say MAGA, right? They say we're America First. We're the real America Firsters. All of them proven to be frauds. It's so obvious at this point that if you're still following these people, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. They've all been proven so fraudulent. But Bannon, this one will hurt. It will. And again, I haven't been following Bannon for a long time. I'll play his clips here and there. It's not like everything he puts out is bad. I would say most of what he does put out is good. I don't watch him though. I just don't really like the show, and I don't like a lot of the stuff I was hearing out of it analysis wise. But I never was fully like Bannon's terrible. It was always kind of like, well, I don't love him, but this, he could be the worst one. This is why we need to know, because Bannon might be. He could either be, at this point, there is only two answers, okay? He either is the worst one, flew too close to the sun, has actually been trying to puppet string against Trump this whole time from behind the scenes, playing the MAGA crowd, subtly choosing how to make us not trust Trump while also acting like he's his best friend. This is like masterful stuff. But the Epstein stuff is starting to show that either he was operating as like some kind of informant, just trying to cozy up to Epstein, maybe lie to him, do all the stuff, be a buddy, try to get stuff. Maybe he's either an informant at this point who flew really close to the sun, or he's the worst one. And with what we're seeing right now, guys, there is no in between. There is no in between. Because how else do you explain these texts? I just don't know what else to say. I mean, how else do you explain these things? If somebody else has a great idea, please let me know, because I don't know how else to explain what's in these texts. I really don't. FBI report in the files. Blank, redacted, expressed concern that Jeffrey Epstein was Israeli spy. He and Bannon may have had a business relationship, and Epstein paid Bannon with money from the Israelis. It doesn't stop. Blank referenced a news story about Israel and Stingray equipment from around the White House. Bannon may have utilized the technology to get information out of the White House. Now, this is an anonymous tip. Well, it's anonymous to us because it's redacted. But there's a tip to the FBI. We don't have proof. This is an allegation, so I'm not saying this is proof of anything. But by what we've seen so far, guys, this sure looks like it could be true, doesn't it? Bannon may have utilized the technology to get information out of the White House. How crazy is that? He said Bannon was close to Epstein, and that troubled Blank as a father of a young girl. So somebody with a young girl knew that Bannon was tight with Epstein, and it pissed him off or scared him. He said Bannon met Epstein at his New York home, and Johnson referred agents to a New York Post article from 2018. We obviously don't know who Johnson is, but wild. Bannon getting Israeli money? Oh my God. This is so crazy. And what has Rich Barris been out there saying in all this, his freaking out over Trump lately? Oh, it's just doing everything for Israel, man. The aides giving Trump bad advice, man. They're just all shilling for Israel this whole time. Hey, bro, you should talk to your boss. You should talk to the guy who platformed you and made you a big deal. Yeah, Albano himself. You should talk to him about this Israeli money. Is it possible that they're all trying to stop Trump's people from trusting that his decisions? Who would have more reason to be mad at Trump's aides than Bannon? Would anybody else? Because Bannon was his aide and was kicked out. So wouldn't it make sense that he would know how to hurt Trump by going after his aides? Yeah, I would. Are they just running a psyop to take down Trump? Because it sure seems like Bannon's the one tied to the Israelis, not Trump. Again, crazy stuff. Bannon and Epstein plotting to buy a media outlet in 2018. Why? They were eyeing the New York Sun or Breitbart for power, credibility, New York City base. Epstein saying my books is the way to peace, peace through strength, believe in peace through vanquishment. Doesn't that sound like a neocon? Vanquish them. No wonder they love John Bolton. Exactly, says Steve Bannon. I thought you weren't a neocon. I thought you hate the neocons, Stevie. Talk to your boy Burke. I think you should have press or media credentials as soon as possible, or we can buy Breitbart. Well, that's interesting because he ran Breitbart for a while. Of course, only after your blood test. Bannon says, I'm buying the New York Sun. This is so crazy. But I prefer a non-U.S. base if possible, especially New York. New York City brand drives the world, says Bannon. Next one. Call it whatever but you like, but documents should not be in New York. You mean incorporation or where investigative reporting is done? Subject best on the phone or in person. Take structural seriously. So this is Epstein saying, like, I don't want to be there. I don't want to have any records in the U.S. Bannon just kind of shut down here. But they really wanted these press credentials, but overseas. Interesting. Kind of like an argument between the two. Here's some pictures. Like, we all love pictures, right? Noam Chomsky hanging out with Bannon. Are you kidding me? Woody Allen, Bannon, Epstein's butler, and Epstein. Look at this. All having dinner together. Just look like the best of friends. And this one, weirds me out. This is Steve Bannon and Noam Chomsky looking like they are best friends. I thought Bannon, dude, aren't you supposed to be like the most anti-communist guy ever? Chomsky is as left as it gets. He's one of the main reasons we have the modern left today. Chomsky's writing radicalized a lot of these people. He is one of their main influencers of the past 100 years. And you're palling up with him with your arm around him? Now, I get it. You can meet people in person. You can be friendly with somebody that you vehemently disagree with. Fine. Again, maybe this is the narrative. He's playing the game. But it sure looks terrible. It looks so terrible. And Woody Allen, I mean, I don't know who this guy is, but there's Chomsky and I believe that's Chomsky and Epstein. You got Woody Allen right here. Woody Allen, known pedophile, married his adopted daughter. How sick are these people? RT.com, redacted for another Epstein file. Now you can understand why Trump wakes up in the middle of the night sweating when he hears you and I are friends. Already covered that one. Here's Bannon texting Epstein. Bannon takes credit for blowing up Trump's trade deal negotiations with China. I blew up the deal. Dead effing on the target. And here's the dates to Trump's tweets right here. For 10 months, China's been paying tariffs to the USA. The trade deal with China continues, but too slowly as they attempt to renegotiate. Trump writes. Bannon writes, you see Trump's tweet? I blew up the deal. Oh my God. This is crazy. You know, when I first saw the first couple of Bannon texts with Epstein, I was like, okay, weird, but he was trying to get an interview with the guy, and maybe he's just, Bannon is a kind of a, listen, I mean, look at the guy. He's slovenly. He's a brilliant guy. I mean, Steve Bannon is brilliant. He's got a mind like few others. Brilliant guy, but slovenly, kind of gross, doesn't take care of himself as he should. He's definitely the kind of guy you could tell is like willing to do dirty work. He just, I don't know, Steve Bannon, like principled maybe when it comes to American values as he claims, but again, because I'm not making allegations here, but is he principled as far as like he won't do something if he thinks it's for the good of, so I don't know. So again, is Bannon, I can't tell you which way Bannon is. Super spy, agent provocateur, informant, getting close, maybe. Secret agent. I mean, that's what it would have to be when you see this stuff, isn't it? If it's going to be good. Otherwise, he's a total POS liar who's been betraying MAGA this entire time. And then we get to this, it just gets stranger. Steve Bannon's Miami home left with a jacuzzi covered in acid. 2017 Washington Post investigation revealed disturbing details about a home Bannon leased in Miami's Coconut Grove. When he vacated the property in 2015, the landlord emailed him. Entire jacuzzi bathtub seems to be covered in acid. Padlocks placed on interior doors for doors removed altogether. Damage exceed 14,000. Bannon's response: I'm out of town. Is there any way you can talk with Diane and sort things out? Now, the story gets crazier. The guy who lived next door said that it was there were porn films being filmed in the house. You could see it through the windows. So there were constantly girls coming in and out of the house. Now, again, there's also a source that said Bannon was barely ever there. So it's totally possible Bannon didn't know. Completely possible. It's his house. That's confirmed. He owned the place. He's a traveling guy. Maybe he had roommates. Maybe he was subleasing it. I don't know. There are explanations. But at what point does all this stuff come together and it's just statistically impossible for him to be a good dude? I don't know. I don't think we're at that point yet, but it sure is shady, isn't it? It sure is weird. Oh, wrong one. Now today we got this. In stunning reversal, Trump DOJ seeks to dismiss Bannon's indictment. Oh, congrats, buddy. Interesting that's coming out today when all this other stuff's going on. So, and listen, this is kind of, a lot of people are taking this one way or the other. A lot of people are saying like, this proves Bannon's a good guy. This proves the Trump administration's looking out for him. He's a good dude. All that stuff. Okay. Great. The landlord Moody was when, after he'd given it up, I think to somebody else, he or maybe he was renting it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he didn't own it. Maybe he's renting it. Maybe I misspoke. Got to look back into the story. But there was porn being filmed there. There was drugs, the acid, all that. But this is a reversal. So this makes a lot of sense. It was Merrick Garland's DOJ that brought this up in the first place. It's probably been ongoing. The DOJ has been, all the other J6ers are pardoned. The Trump administration, their DOJ has been understaffed because half the lawyers either quit or were removed, and they're just now coming up to full staff. So maybe this was something that should have happened a year ago or 7 months ago, and they just haven't had time to get around to it. They've been working on the Epstein Files, working on all these other cases, trying to get the Supreme Court to overturn these crazy activist judges. Maybe that's what this is, and it's just coincidental timing. Who knows? All I can say is that this doesn't prove anything one way or the other. It just is what it is. It just goes with the whole J6 thing. And Bannon, one of the things that people keep saying when all this comes out, they're defending Bannon is, well, he went to jail for Trump. Well, maybe. He definitely went to jail for censorship, for being censured by the House and not showing up for his to give testimony. That's true. Him and Navarro both went to prison or jail for a couple months. It wasn't anything long. So if you're Bannon, you look at that and you say, hey, there's a couple explanations. Either I'm defending President Trump. I'm not going to play this game. Cool. Good guy. Awesome. The other explanation is, dude, I have a good thing going. MAGA base completely trusts me. I make good money. I'm very influential in the political atmosphere. I have to continue playing my part. A couple months in jail is a perfect, opportunity. It's actually good for me long term. Bannon's smart enough to think like that. Okay. It'd be different if he was going to be put away for 5-10 years, but it was a couple months. That's something you can endure to come back stronger. Absolutely. So I don't take him going to jail as proof he's a patriot, because all this other stuff, it's just too overwhelming. So again, I'm not condemning him. I'm not making allegations. I'm just saying that I would really like some more answers. Bannon charged with stealing the border wall money. This is one of the craziest stories to me. Remember, he created that game. He was laundering money through the World of Warcraft, his gaming company, Okay, so he was busted on that. That all came out. And Elon Musk is tweeting that all over the place tonight. But Bannon was also busted for this that he pulled off in 2020, build the wall. He got $25 million from his fans, listen to War Room, and none of that money was ever put to building the wall. And in fact, it was found that him and several others took big fat checks from it, 6-figure deals. Bannon charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering for defrauding hundreds of thousands of donors who contributed more than $25 million to the We Build the Wall crowdfunding campaign. Here's the press release right here. He was let off on a plea bargain, but others did go to, I read, others went to jail over it. But I'm not especially versed in this story if somebody has more details. But Mario Nawfal, again, I trust his reporting in general. So listen, again, it all comes back to we don't know what's happening here, okay? We just don't know. Here's the laundering. Epstein used World of Warcraft gold, and it was Bannon was running at the same time. Pretty crazy stuff. 2007. Just wild stuff. So look, guys, is this guy right here? You know, like, was he caught up in the deep state activities and then was flipped? Was he used to gain access to Epstein? It is interesting that he did talk to Epstein for a couple years. They went back and forth a bunch. He got obviously some information out of Epstein, and then they busted Epstein 2019, right after he'd interviewed him and was about to release his documentary on him. That is interesting timing. You could say that maybe that's a plus for Bannon. Maybe it's a plus for Bannon that nobody went after him. The Biden administration certainly could have more. So that's painting the picture of the good side. All right. The part about Bannon that actually might be legit. Maybe he's a good guy. Maybe he really is. Maybe he is a patriot. But then there's all the other information that's just very, very damning. Very from the. Let's just go back to Breitbart. Andrew Breitbart dies right after exposing John Podesta for pedophilia. Calls out Podesta, basically starts opening up Pandora's box on all this. We get Breitbart starts it, WikiLeaks continues it, Breitbart dies. Most likely killed. He was a young man, barely older than I am. Bannon comes in, takes over Breitbart. Changed it. A lot of people have testified to this. Strange circumstances. 2016 comes. Bannon pushing Ted Cruz. Huge Ted Cruz fan. Sees Trump's winning, switches to Trump. All of a sudden pushing Trump. Then joins his campaign. Gets Trump gets elected. Bannon claims he got Trump elected. It was him teaching Trump what to say. Trump says Bannon had nothing to do with it. Bannon goes in the White House as an advisor. After a few months, Bannon leaves, kicked out. Everybody's saying that he's the one behind the leaks. I'm just going through the timeline right now. He's the one with the leaks. He's the one talking to Michael Wolff about the book. Michael Wolff, who was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to try to figure out how to take down Trump. Then Bannon now in touch with Epstein for 2 years. Talks to him about rehabbing himself. Says, let's do this interview. Let's show the world who you really are. Tries to get Epstein painted in a new light. And then after 2 years of buddying it up with Epstein, texts, going to the island to film the documentary, claiming that he's the mastermind behind a lot of what's going on in the Trump administration, says Trump is, if he knew they were friends, he'd freak out. Got John Bolton on board, neocon, all this stuff that just doesn't add up to who Bannon always says he is. And then Epstein busted. And one of the last people Epstein was thinking of before he died or disappeared is Steve Bannon, writing a list for Steve Bannon. This is a wild timeline, folks. Wild timeline. And there's so much more, but we covered it all tonight that I could find, and there might be more stuff coming out. But I thought it was very, very important to do this video tonight because, again, Bannon is one of the keys. He's one of the keys. He's been one of the most important people in the MAGA movement. And if he goes down, it's going to sting real bad. It's going to be a painful one, which might be why Trump hasn't gone full bore after Bannon yet. Maybe he's letting him die slowly by process of elimination of all the information just keep trickling out. Maybe he's trying to let down MAGA slowly. I don't know, because it's going to hurt if it turns out Bannon's bad. So maybe Trump doesn't want it coming from him. I don't know. Maybe Bannon's actually a patriot. And maybe he's actually this whole time been working with Trump behind the scenes. But there is no other answer at this point. There's just too much stuff. So he's either an agent working behind the scenes. It's just crazy. Forbidden Plan asks, was Epstein right about there being no gold in Fort Knox? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff Epstein wrote that was nonsense. So, but then again, he knew stuff. I can't tell you if it's true or not. So much of Epstein's stuff was just crazy. And so, but he also is super duper connected. So the real answer is, I don't know. Could he be saying that there's no gold, meaning there's way less than you think there is, like kind of brushing it off? There's no gold in Fort Knox, meaning there's less than half of what you think, which would make sense under the Obama administration and before. But what has Trump been doing? What was one of the first things he did when he came into office this time? We had shipments of gold coming over here from the UK and from France. A bunch of gold came back to the US. Was that being put in Fort Knox? I don't know. But was Trump restocking it? I can't tell you. But is it possible? Yeah. So what Epstein said then might not matter now. Johnny Strayhorn says getting Bolton his job is huge. Yeah, it's very damning. John Bolton's one of the worst of the worst. If Bannon's the one who got him in there and said he was controlling him, that's crazy. Christina Abbott says, my husband was a high-level cop for 25 years. He always said you are who you hang around with. End of story. That's interesting. And I would say in the vast majority of situations, that's probably true. Very true. Yeah. Says he's a skin of truth stuffed with lies. Double-minded man. Yeah, it's very possible. Moody says, what happened to the live stream for Fort Knox he was going to do? I don't know. It's a good question. There's a lot of stuff with Trump where he'll say something and he throws it out there to see what the response is, and then it goes away. So just remember that. Sometimes Trump just throws stuff out there to see who's going to react, see how the media is going to react, to see how his enemies are going to react, to see how the people are going to react. Like he did the same thing with the 50-year mortgage. That just went away. So I think a lot of stuff with Trump, it's like you just got to pay attention to what he's actually doing. And then when he says stuff, like you listen and you take it seriously, but not always literally. He was definitely trying to draw attention to it. I can tell you that. Why? That's the question. Because you got to remember, Trump, he's as smart as Bannon, maybe smarter. A lot of people dog on Trump because of the way he speaks, but that's just a New Yorker. Trump's a genius. He really is. And that doesn't mean I think he's playing the most crazy 5D chess ever. No. I'm not one of those people who think Trump is all-knowing. I don't think that. That's too far. But Trump is a genius. He really is. And after all that time, he had to sit back and think about everything this term. You got to believe he's way more on target with everything he says and does this term than he was in the first term. It's way more intentional. Look how much he's working and getting done all the time. So all I can tell you on that, Moody, is that he definitely was trying to bring attention to our gold again. And what's happened since then? Gold has doubled. You can't make this stuff up. Thank you, Jake Cornett. He says this show is crazy informative. I appreciate that, Jake. Thank you. I try. I do. And if you guys want to keep supporting it, please think about it. Think about supporting the show and help me keep doing what I do by becoming a member. You can go in the members live And the more it grows, the more I can accomplish. So I thank you guys for that. You guys fund the show, and the members definitely fund the show. So thank you guys for your support. But you can join for free for a month and see if you like it. But everybody else, if you can't join, that's fine. Just hit that like, please. Hit that hype button if you see it. Some people get it, some don't. And be sure to share. I appreciate that. And subscribe if you're new. Uncle Andy says, I don't know. I've seen Trump's videos. I've seen videos that Trump's uncle found Nikola Tesla's time machine. So maybe Trump does know all. There is some talk on the time machine stuff. The true story is that Trump's uncle, the MIT uncle, was left a lot of Nikola Tesla's stuff, like things he was working on, paperwork that showed some inventions, stuff like that. Okay, so that's very interesting. So Trump actually does have a connection to Tesla. How crazy is that? The real Tesla. And now he works with Musk a lot. So it's just wild how that all comes around. First 1776 says, best coverage I've seen online of this. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I appreciate it. I really try hard to give you guys a good show. Listen, guys, final, just thoughts on the whole Bannon thing is, I honestly, you guys know me. I have strong opinions. I do deep research, and I usually can call stuff out ahead of time before it comes to light, because of my research, because of my gut feelings, and I'm more right than not. You guys know that. You guys who've been watching me, you guys know this. I'll tell you on the Bannon stuff, I feel kind of baffled. I really do. And maybe I'm conflicted because I don't want him to be rotten. And Trump does seem to be signaling counter to what's coming out. So I trust Trump first, always. But I also know right now, even Trump is playing the PSYOP game. There's a lot, if things are always convoluted right now in the last few years with everything going on, if things are always convoluted, now it's 10 times that, what normal. Things are as convoluted now as they've ever been, because the files coming out, because of what's going on foreign policy wise, because of the midterms, because Trump was winning so much after Venezuela and Davos, they have gone all out right now. They're deploying all assets. So it's even murkier now than ever. So all we can do is actually look at what we do know and make our best assessments from that. I'll tell you this. I can't tell you right now if Bannon's going to turn out to be good egg or bad egg. What I can tell you with absolute certainty is that as of right now, you shouldn't trust him. He owes us an explanation. He owes MAGA an explanation. He has to. And until Bannon gives us an explanation on this, I'm not going to trust him. I'm not going to trust Rich Barris. I already don't trust Robert Barnes. He's a hack. I can't trust Posobiec. There's a lot of them you just can't trust. It doesn't mean you can't trust everything they say, because some things they say are obvious and it's and absolutely true. But I mean, wherever it's shady, wherever it's asking you to challenge Trump or doubt what's going on, that's the stuff you should always say, I can't take your word on this right now. And it's proven that we can't trust him until more comes out. Let me see right now. 92% of the chat says Bannon cannot be trusted. Wow. If you didn't vote yet, go ahead and vote. But wow, that's major. And if it's up to me, I want it to come out that he was a double agent this whole time, was playing Epstein, and that Bannon's the hero we all want him to be, along with Trump, and that we don't have to see another influencer go down. But unfortunately, in this day and age where information is our warfare, it is where we wage war. Information and financial is where the wars are really fought now, guys. It's not hot wars like it used to be. I mean, it still can happen. There still can be real wars fought with blood and guns, but most war now is psyop war. Most war now is financial. So that's the war we're in right now. And all we can do right now through this time is trust Trump. And that's, again, we also have to trust what we know. And like, what's his face came in here earlier. I didn't recognize him, but bashing on JD Vance. Look, I couldn't be, there's a reason they hate JD Vance. There's a reason they're going out all out on JD Vance. And look at the people who are calling out JD Vance the most. It's the people we know we can't trust the most. It's Nick Fuentes. It's Candace Owens. It's Whitney Webb. It's Ian Carroll. It's the influencers we've already seen to be wrong. It's the influencers we've already seen to not be helping anything, that are instead just bashing everything that's up there, everybody that's actually trying to make a difference. They are trying to tear it all down and make us all think that we cannot win no matter what. And they'll say, no, we can win, if we just rise up as a people. You know what that means? That means nothing. Because people always need a leader to win. America needed George Washington to win the Revolutionary War. America needed Abraham Lincoln to get through the Civil War. We need leaders. And when all you ever do is come up with a reason to doubt and hate and distrust every single leader we have, even when they're making progress, well, that is blackpilling. That is not wisdom. That is not, I'm just being a helpful critic. No, that is literally what blackpilling is. Because without a leader, people don't get anything accomplished. A leader must be there to set vision. A leader must be there to show courage. We have to have leaders. And right now, Trump is a leader. He is our leader. He's the MAGA movement's leader. He's our only hope right now as a leader for now. And he chose JD Vance. And I said JD Vance would be the best pick months before Trump chose him. Am I paid? No, I'd have a lot more viewers if I was. I want to have 7,000 subs. I'd have 700,000 subs like Ian Carroll, who came out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, if I was paid, that's what would happen. No, I just saw it and I figured it out. Because you cannot trust people who are always dooming. That's it. You cannot trust them. Anybody who has no hope, you can't trust them. And sometimes they're not even a bad person. They're just broken. And you can't trust a broken person because a broken person can't have wisdom. You can't have wisdom without hope. You can't have wisdom without faith. It's impossible. So we have to know that, like, when they come in and just dog on JD Vance, I'm like, well, you sound a lot like Nick Fuentes, and I know he's full of crap. You sound a lot like Candace Owens, who's a total fraud. You sound a lot like Ian Carroll, who's a Fed. Yeah. Why are you spouting the same nonsense they're spouting? And now we're at the point where it might be Bannon's there too. I'm not ready to go there 100% yet, but I got to say, it doesn't look good. So, and Cass Inc. writes, no matter where you see Trump, he doesn't seem nervous. No, not at all. Trump seems like he's having the time of his life. And I think it's because he knows how much we're winning. So the rest of this year, guys, this is a year of exposure. It's a year of justice. It's a year of expansion. It's a year of turnaround. And I think it's going to be a year of a lot of winning. I really do. So, is my audio low? Game on over. You can't say stuff like that, man. You can't, because when you say stuff like that, you're condemning an entire race. You can't do that. You can't do that. That's terrible. I just, you can't say stuff like that. That's not helpful. That's really not helpful. You sound like a groiper, and I'm not saying you are, but that's what the groipers say. Not helpful at all. Not helpful at all. Anyways, all right, love you guys. I've gone late tonight, but it obviously had a lot to cover. You guys are the best. Thank you again for watching. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe before you leave. If you're on X, please hit that repost. Hit that follow. And please consider joining. Please consider supporting the channel so I can continue to do this and better work going forward. All right. Love you guys. Moody. Okay, let me get your question real quick. Thank you, Christina. Very nice. Moody says Savannah Guthrie gave voice to Epstein's victims, including Virginia Giuffre. Now her mother is missing. Is there a connection? I don't know. That's a great question. Savannah Guthrie and her mother were also huge Trump haters. So I don't, and they were also like, there was really weird stuff her mom was posting about like illegal immigrants and stuff. So I literally don't know what to think about the Savannah Guthrie stuff. We're just going to have to watch and see how it plays out. It could just be she was tragically abducted and nothing else to it. So we'll see what happens. I don't think there's a connection to Epstein though. I really don't. Really don't. They weren't dangerous enough. And Savannah, they were very far on the left. If anything, they were just looking to grab Trump and all of it. So anyways, D6. All right, brother, we'll pray for you, your son, his wife, and your family for losing the child. Absolutely. I'm so sorry for your loss, by the way. That's terrible. All right, guys, let's pray and we'll call it a night. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody watching. Thank you for them, Lord. We especially lift up D6's family, his son, his wife, all their grief throughout the whole family of losing a child. I can't imagine. We were blessed never to have that happen, but we know so many who have. And there's nothing like losing a child, even one that you didn't get to meet yet. But that expectation, that joy, the plans, the hope, the excitement, and having it all taken away. There's just nothing like that. So God, we know the baby is with you, and we're grateful for that. But God, for those left here, we just pray comfort and peace. And just the peace that passes all understanding, I just bless them with in Jesus' name. And Father, we pray for our president and his team. God, give them wisdom to navigate these crazy times. Give them courage to keep pushing through and protect them, Lord. Protect them from all the instruments of the enemy, Lord. And we pray that in Jesus' name. And God, we pray that exposure continues to come. That, God, all that are operating in evil or deceit, God, are exposed, and corruption are exposed. Pray that spreads like wildfire throughout our nation. Exposure in Jesus' name. We call it out, and we pray for peace and justice to come back to our nation and prosperity like we've never seen before. That's what we're asking and believing for, that the true golden age could come to our great nation and be left to our kids and grandkids. So we pray all this in Jesus' name tonight. Amen. All right. Love you guys. Bless you. Have a great night, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Take care.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night.